So in the book Future Crimes, I have a variety of tools, techniques, and tips that we can use to protect ourselves individually and that society can use to make sure that going forward, we're all much safer with the technology we use. One of the things I want to be clear on is I'm not saying tech is bad, right? I think technology is awesome. I'm a huge technophile. I teach at Singularity University in Silicon Valley, co-founded by NASA and Google. We love tech. The only point that I'm making is that we need to be careful because for all the good technology does, there's an ominous flip side. If you think about the first technology, it was fire, right? With fire, you can cook your food, you can stay warm at night, or you can use it to burn down the village next door to you. So it's all in how we use the technology. From a social perspective, I think there's a bunch of things that we can do. We need better software, we need better coding, because right now the way the software comes out of the factory is riddled with bugs. You know, when you get on your iPhone, one of those little time to update your browser, update your operating system, update is the most benign way of saying you have been hosed. Our software was full of bugs, we just discovered them, and now we're fixing them. So every time you see an update, you should think, oh, what I was using previously was unsafe. So one of the things you can do is keep your software up to date along those lines. I created something literally called the Update Protocol, UPDATE, and each letter stands for a step that the average Joe or Jane can take to protect themselves. So 6 steps. The U in update, keep your software updated. I already told you why. Don't do it manually, set it to work automatically so that your phone software, your computer software, your browsers, your Flash, your PDFs, all of that is updated to the very latest version because then you'll be blocking known threats and protecting yourself. The P is password, right? We all have a million passwords and it's incredibly annoying. Your password, they want to be 35 digits, uppercase, lowercase, exclamation points, mother's maiden name, haiku, what high school you went to. It's all very complex. But the good news is there are tools out there that we can use, and those are called password wallets or password managers. They're little apps that you can download on your computer or on your phone for free or for cheap, and I recommend 4. One is called 1Password, the number 1 in password. Another one is called Dashlane. Then there's one called LastPass, and another one called KeePass, K-E-E Pass. I recommend those 4, not because I have any relationship with the company, but because, believe it or not, criminals have actually launched their own password managers. So if you go into the Android Play Store, you may download a password manager that was actually put in there by thieves. So that's why I stick with those 4. They'll help you manage your passwords, and you should definitely be setting a password on your mobile devices as well. Okay, so UPD. D is for download. Be careful where you download your software. Only go to authorized app stores. All these third-party sites, particularly if you're using torrents and peer-to-peer networks because you want to download the latest version, of a movie for free, why are they giving it away for free? Just think about it, right? When you walk into McDonald's, they don't give you free food. They don't give you free coffee at Starbucks, and they don't give you free clothes at Macy's. Free is the most expensive price in the world. So be aware of where you download stuff because bad guys are taking free versions of software and putting malware and viruses in there to infect your computer. So watch where you download from and avoid torrents for that reason. A, this is a big tip that most people never realize, and A stands for administrator. When you take home your brand new laptop or computer and you boot it up, you have to create an account. That first account that you create is called an administrator account. It has maximum rights and privileges to do whatever it wants to your computer. This way you can install new software, you can run updates, etc. But that's kind of dangerous for the following reason. If you're surfing online and you accidentally click on a link that's infected or click on an attachment, if you click on an attachment in software, then that can obviously contain a virus. It can infect your computer. If you're logged into your computer as the administrator and you click on a bad link, then the malware that's in that link or that download can run automatically and infect your computer. If, however, you're logged in as what's called a basic user account, that means that if you click on that link by accident that's infected and the malware tries to install on your machine, you'll get a pop-up that says, please insert your administrator password so we can make changes to your computer. If you're just trying to read a PDF or watch a YouTube video and it asks for your administrator password, that's a big clue that that file is infected. So you should always do your daily routine online on a user account. So create a user account, and then when you need to administer your box and do special things, put in your login password to do that on an administrator account. T, update, UPDATE. The T is for turn off. We all leave our computers on 24/7, and it turns out that there are malwares and cyber attacks that can occur to your machine even when you're asleep. If you just turned off your computer when you slept for 8 hours, that would reduce your risk factor by 33%. If you don't want to turn off your computer because you're working, just turn off the Wi-Fi. Right? Just preventing the Wi-Fi from connecting to the network. And the same is true with your mobile phone. Most people walk around with their smartphone. All the ports are open and on. So your Bluetooth is open, your Wi-Fi is open, near field communication, GPS location, all of those services on all the time. The challenge is that any decent hacker can use each one of those services as another way to break into your phone. If your Bluetooth is on, I can launch a Bluetooth attack against you. That means I can interfere with your headset, I can listen to what you're saying, all of that becomes possible. So if you're not using a service, just turn it off, particularly when you're in an area with a lot of people, universities, airports, other public places. And the E, the very last letter in the update protocol, is for encryption. If you use a Windows machine or if you use a Macintosh, both of those come pre-built. Both of those come with pre-installed software that can encrypt the data on your hard drive. Encryption is a way of scrambling the data using big math so that nobody can read what you have stored on your hard drive unless they have your secret password. Encryption can be very strong and is very good at protecting your data. On the Windows side, that is called Bitdefender. Just look for a setting in your computer called Bitdefender and you can encrypt your hard drive. And you can do the same on the Macintosh with something called FileVault. This way, if your computer is lost or stolen, if they don't have your password, they can't read your data. There's another type of encryption that I also recommend using, which is for your data not at rest on your hard drive, but when it's transiting your computer, leaving your computer and going out to the broad internet. If you're sitting at Starbucks and using the Wi-Fi there, if you're at a Marriott hotel and you're using the Wi-Fi there, then all the other people on the same Wi-Fi access point can see and read what you're doing. I myself have been in a hotel where I launch iTunes, and now I can see the iTunes libraries of 25 other people staying on my floor in the hotel. One way to solve that problem is to use a virtual private network, a VPN. And there are several out there from the reputable antivirus companies. Go find one. They're a couple of bucks a month, and that will protect all the data that leaves your machine when you are on a public Wi-Fi network. And I think if you follow the update protocol, there's great news. You can reduce your cyber risk by 85%. Those aren't my statistics. It was actually a study done by the Australian Ministry of Defence. And if you use the techniques of update, you'll cut out 85% of your risk. The trick is, there's no such thing as perfect security in our world, right? None of us can be perfectly secure, but we can be smart. In the real world, we know how to protect ourselves. We don't walk out of our homes in the morning and leave the front doors wide open. If we're driving around town, we don't get out of our car and leave the keys in the ignition and the car running. We know what being smart and safe looks like in physical space, but a lot of folks don't know what that looks like in cyberspace. And that's what I hope to share with people, those tips. This isn't rocket science. There's a lot of complexity, but there are actually some very basic tips you can do. With the update protocol, it's the cyber equivalent of locking your front door and taking the keys out of your car. Every day in the news, we hear stories of companies being hacked, of friends being hacked, of identity theft, whether it be Target, Sony PlayStation, Sony, Anthem Blue Cross. The challenge that we have today is that we don't really have really good information about what all of this hacking means. It's kind of hard to understand, and the media doesn't do a very good job in explaining it. All they say is Sony was hacked, Apple was hacked. They don't talk about the companies, but they don't talk about the why and the how. What I tried to do in Future Crime is tell the amazing stories that are going on out there of criminal innovation, how they're doing what they're doing, and what you can do to protect yourself from those threats. Many people focus on the downside of cyber risk, but there's a flip side. Not only can you just protect yourself, but for a whole new generation of entrepreneurs, there are going to be some tremendous opportunities to help secure all of this technology that we have today. Not just our computers, not just our phones, but those 50 to 200 billion new devices, televisions, robots, drones, right? they're all going online, and we have no way to secure it. So there will be new billion-dollar companies created by those who can figure out how to do this, and that's an exciting time for entrepreneurs.